In a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Hey, come on. Congratulations. No, it's all good. All good.
Before we begin our reorganization of the committee, I'd like to just announce the Whitman winners of the school committee seats. Beth Stafford and Ryan Trussell, a 3-year term each. Stephanie Blackman, a 2-year term. And Chris Marks, a 1-year term. And in Hanson, Glenn DeGravio and TJ Rolfe, a 3-year term. Congratulations and welcome, you folks. Our first item of business today is reorganization. We will select the chair, and once the chair is selected, they will take the gavel and then continue to chair the meeting. Today, we'll be selecting a chair, a vice chair, a secretary, a treasurer, and an assistant treasurer. I will take nominations, and once all nominations have been noted, the committee will vote in the order of the nominations received. Once a committee person has received 6 votes in favor of their nomination, that person will be awarded the role. So at this point, I'm open to nominations for chair.
I nominate Beth.
Mr. Boyce?
Second.
And second. Beth, are you willing to take that nomination?
Yes.
Okay. Any other nominations?
Yes. I nominate Stephanie Blackman.
Stephanie?
Second.
Second. Stephanie, will you accept that nomination?
Yes.
Any other nominations? Hearing none. All in, this has to be a roll call vote. All, in the affirmative, let's see, how was I did for Beth, but I'm just saying, in the affirmative, Mr. Boyce.
Yes.
Kara.
Yes.
Yes. Justin.
Yes.
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 No.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay. I think that's 7-3, Jen? 7-3. Okay. Beth. You got to be down.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I will now take nominations for vice chair.
Motion for Hillary Niffen.
Second.
Motion for Stephanie Blackman.
Well, first, just make sure you
Yep,
accept that.
yep. I was going to.
Yep.
Hillary, do you accept the nomination?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now Stephanie, do you accept the nomination? Okay. Anybody else? All right, we'll start with, for Hillary, and a yes vote means you will nominate Hillary. Stephen?
Yes.
Tara?
Yes.
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 Hillary?
Yes.
Yes?
No.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Again, 7-3. Hillary? Okay. Yep,
Secretary.
secretary.
Yep.
Nominations for secretary.
Can you outline what the responsibilities are of the secretary and the treasurer?
Sure.
Is that possible?
Sure. So the secretary has to be a signature on certain documents, the chair, the superintendent, and the secretary of the committee. The treasurer is not necessarily responsible for overseeing different things, but is in contact with the district business manager around finances around the district, and sometimes has to sign certain documents as the treasurer. The district actually has a treasurer that we need to have by law, but the school committee also has that person.
And in terms of the secretary, are those signatures like time sensitive? Like, is there certain times that need to be done?
Very rarely, now that the building project's in place, I don't anticipate, I think in the first 5 years of this position, I don't think the secretary came in at all,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, so do I have a nomination for secretary, please? Okay, well, I nominate Steve Boyce. Steve, do you accept the
All right, I'll
nomination?
second that.
Do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
Do I have any other nominations? Okay, Steve?
Yes.
Tara?
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Glad you be you. Okay, next we have treasurer.
I nominate Rosemary Hill.
Thank you.
Second.
Rosemary, do you accept?
Absolutely. Thank you. Can I just quickly outline the, just?
No, if we can do this quickly. Okay, can I have any other nominations? Okay. Now let's do it. Steve?
Yes.
Kara?
Yes.
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 Rosemary, you wanted to say a word?
Oh, just, thank you. I just wanted to get an outline of this position. It's defined a little bit differently than it is in other towns, but is there, do we have a bylaw for this position or any?
I'll have to look. I'm
Thank
not
you
really
so
sure.
much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Okay, how about Assistant Treasurer? I have a nomination.
I nominate Stephanie Blackman.
Second.
Do I have any others? Stephanie, accept?
Sure.
Okay. Stephen?
Yes.
Kara?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Now, I'd like to do one more that's important that we thought, and it's the RAC, because RAC has meeting. For those, do you want to,
Yeah, so,
because of my voice, you want
so
to explain a little bit?
usually we do subcommittees at the next meeting, which is scheduled for June 4th. However, the Regional Agreement Committee is scheduled for June 4th. And we need a voting member from Hanson and a voting member from Whitman from this committee to serve. Previously, it's been Rosemary and Hillary, but it's open to the committee to reorg on that as well. We're significantly accomplished at this point. It's been a 2-year process. But I asked Beth today, I said, that's really the one that I need for this, because I don't want to postpone that next meeting.
Can you do that, Chris? Can you do it? I'll give it mine.
Okay, can they nominate themselves?
What are the dates?
I nominate Hillary Neffen.
Second.
From the Hanson side?
It usually meets on Wednesday right before.
So Hanson votes on Hanson.
No, it's a whole thing.
no,
So
no,
it's just,
okay.
I need one voting member and
Chris.
one voting member. It can't be.
Chris Mark.
Okay?
Second.
Okay, all right, so
And it's really not, you don't need a vote. If it's a consensus, head nod, we're good.
are we good on those two?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much.
I'll get to the.
And just to let everybody know, when Jeff was just talking about the committees, what his plan that he had told me before, and he didn't mention tonight, that he was, because we've talked about this before, like what Stephanie has suggested, which now that I'm chairing, I'm going to evolve into something more. He's going to send out to everybody a description of what the subcommittees are and what the duties of the subcommittees are, so that you can make your mind up. We'd really like everybody to choose at least one subcommittee to be on. Some of them are more involved than the others, but hopefully this, whatever Jeff puts out will be. But as you know, we now have a lot of work to do in the next couple of weeks. We will be probably calling for an emergency meeting possibly next week, but we'll talk about that later. But our next scheduled meeting is 4th here, with a lot to do on that night. But at that time, you can look over, see what you might be interested in. And so hopefully that will, because I know in the past, sometimes we nominate for committee and we have no idea what we're doing. So, not that when you get on the committee, you still know what you're doing, but, yes.
I'm sorry, just real quick. Is the intention for that description of positions and all that to be made available before?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So that we can review it before?
Yes,
I had it for today, I just didn't want to go too deep today.
Yeah.
Just go,
Yeah.
so I'll send it out.
so that you can think about
Yeah,
it.
perfect, thank you.
And ask questions.
Okay.
We have to open the public hearing.
Yep.
Stephanie has her.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Steph.
Oh, I just wanted to say, June 4th is my birthday. Is there any way we can change the school committee meeting date, or can you bring a cake?
Bring a cake.
Bring the cake.
Okay, all right, good. I just wanted to clarify.
Excuse me, wait, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that without a vote. No, I can't.
Second.
For Stephanie's cake.
We need to vote on the time of day.
Right, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
We still got science night, we gotta get out of here.
Sorry, you have to spend your birthday that day.
We'll make it quick, right?
That's all right.
Yeah. Okay, so next we have to,
Need a motion.
do we have to close first? this?
No, we can
Okay,
just go for
vote.
a motion.
All right, we need a motion to vote for the open public hearing on school choice. Could I have-
Motion.
So moved. Second.
Okay. All right.
Roll call vote.
A roll call vote for this one, please. Stephen?
Yes.
Kara?
Yes.
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 Right?
Yes.
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 And me, yes.
Before anybody speaks, I don't know if anybody's out there, I just want to explain to the committee and to those out there what school choice is. It's I want to say mandate from the state that each school districts in the Commonwealth is open to school choice, meaning unless we close to school choice, any student from any neighboring community can come into our school, okay? If we decide to close to all students or close to a certain amount of students, grade level wise, we can do that at a school committee meeting. But that doesn't mean that a student in Whitman-Hanson can't go to any other school that's open for school choice in the area, in the Commonwealth, okay? So we have sending students out, and we have students coming in. Currently, we have 76 students that are in your packet. We have 76 students in district that are school choice for us coming from other districts. We have 50, I believe 54 students going out for school choice. No, 50, I'm sorry. It's on this sheet right here. Every student that is out of district as far as public and private are on this sheet right here. So we have 50 students choosing to leave our district for a variety of reasons to another public school district. Glenn has a question.
Oh, Glenn, I'm sorry.
You said neighboring communities. Is there a boundary? Is there a,
No.
so it's any community in
So-
Massachusetts,
correct.
technically, it's not neighboring communities?
Correct. So we don't transport
I have a follow-up. That was
anything
it.
like that. The parent chooses to go.
We are not
just like-
responsible for transportation,
Zippo.
but if I lived in North Adams and said I want to go to Whitman-Hanson, I could,
Parent drives.
as long as I get there,
As long as you get there on time at, and you're not tardy.
It's early.
or get detention.
Take care.
It's just two questions. One is it within a certain quota or limit or like capacity in terms of what the building's going to hold?
So that's I'm going to give a recommendation
Okay,
after,
all right.
after the public hearing.
Okay, perfect.
About that, because I look at our numbers and do that and take the recommendations of the building principals.
Perfect. And then remind me again about if a student comes to us with either comes to us or subsequently qualifies for a 504 or an IEP, do we pay those costs or the sending district?
So the sending district pays a proportion higher than a typical student. However, if it comes to a severe issue around an IEP,
Yeah.
like an out-of-district placement, the sending district picks that cost up. They are also part of the team process.
Okay.
But the sending district picks that cost up.
Hillary has a question.
So what about if the student comes to us in kindergarten and then in second grade qualifies for an IEP and needs a one-on-one?
Sending district has to pay for that one-on-one.
Okay.
Anything above the average cost of a student, and I would say, I'm using the word inclusion class, just simple special education services, not something that's outside the box for a specific special need.
And I have a follow-up. And how much if we were to take a student from East Bridgewater, how much does East Bridgewater pay us to take that student?
For a traditional student, it's $5,000,
And how much do we pay to educate our students here?
about $17,500.
Okay.
However, on a student on a plan, it can go from $8,500 to $13,000. That's what we can bring in.
No, I'm sorry, Kara.
Do we also pay $5,000 for any students that move out?
Correct.
And like a similar thing for special ed services?
Correct.
My other question, Jeff, is if at some point in time we do decide to close school choice, what does that mean for the students, the school choice students who are currently in?
They remain here until they graduate
Okay.
or leave the district.
Okay.
We've also remained open for any student that chooses to stay in district when families move. So instead of, they love our district, a lot of folks do, and they choose to stay, and parents either move to Abington or they move to East Bridgewater or Rockland, and they commute their child here until they graduate.
Sorry, one more question.
Go ahead, Kara.
I'm hoping this is not something that we run into frequently, but if you have a school choice student who ends up having some escalating behaviors to the point that it would require disciplinary action, would they still just have the same
Yes.
free and appropriate public education rights
Yes.
that they would in any other district?
Yes.
Okay. Thank
So,
you.
and that's a challenge.
Yeah.
That is a challenge.
Yeah.
when students have, we cannot deny the right of a school choice student due to behavior or absences, if they come.
Yeah, when they come here, they are our students.
Correct.
And I think, just a reminder of what Jeff said too, if you vote no for school choice, that does not mean that our students cannot school choice out, okay? It's just students coming in the school choice vote. Okay, so that doesn't mean that's going to prevent our kids from going out. It does not, okay? I saw Chris's hand. Oh, Stephanie was first? Oh, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to ask, so by the math, if we get $5,000 from a school neighboring town, and it costs us $17,000, it's costing the taxpayers of Whitman-Hanson $12,000 for us to take in a student from another school district. Am I correct with that math?
So if you want to do the math that way, yes, but that per pupil expenditure covers all the administrative costs and different things that go into that. The way school choice works in the benefit for our district, if 5 or 6 or 7 are all these students that are coming in, the 76 students, I'm retaining 5,000 per, I can add staff. So in theory, in the high school, if I had one teacher with 10 school choice students, they're servicing 125. Because out of that at $50,000 or $60,000, they have 5 classes of 25. So they are benefiting more of our students because that teacher's able to offer more classes. It's not beneficial at the elementary level necessarily. However, those revenues that we bring in tend to offset our kids going out. Because no matter what, I'm paying for 50 kids going out. And that's coming from the taxpayers of Whitman-Hanson to go out. So that's the balance. And again, I don't know if it's a win-win on either side. I like to be, at least as we used to be in a tremendous plus. All the revenues were coming in were beneficial for us. And when we started in 2012, we actually hired 6 teachers based upon school choice. Kids started going out, especially around the COVID time and when we didn't offer kindergarten, and they have stayed in those areas. So if you look at our mass virtual schools, I think there's 20-something students that are in virtual academies at $5,000 a pop. That comes right out of our budget for school choice. So trying to offset it a little bit is beneficial for us. It's just what we've done historically, and I know. Do you
Chris?
have the same question?
That was the question.
That was your question, okay, Karen?
Just a statement more than a question. What I'm hearing you say, Jeff, from a purely financial standpoint, well, maybe not purely financial, but what I'm wondering is if, as we in the coming weeks are discussing potential cuts to our district services, whether that would be a disincentive for students to be coming into us and an incentive for more of our students to leave, whether that's to a school choice school or more expensively to a charter or a vocational school. So I think that's something just I wanted to make sure was out there.
Hillary?
Jeff, do you have, it doesn't look like it's on here, but over the last, 7 years, it's hard, I know, because COVID, but have our choice numbers of students coming into the district increased or decreased?
We had choice numbers from 2012 to 2015. They were increasing, and then they were stagnant, and were actually decreasing at the high school.
Right.
The reason some of your numbers here are what they are is students don't leave district when they move. These aren't necessarily new students. These are your neighbors who moved next door. We're not getting kids like I was getting in 2012. We're just not. There's other opportunities, and when we publicly come out and say we are in a budget crisis, people are choosing not to come. I don't know, Kara, did you have another question?
No, I think that I said.
Okay.
I don't, but we just need to hear from the public.
I have something to say. Sure. I'm sorry. So just so people know, that one of the years that we stopped school choice, we had comments from families whose children were here on school choice and had siblings. Because of no school choice, we're not allowed to come to our school district. and their sibling had come here and graduated because we stopped school choice. As Jeff said, if they're already here on school choice, they get to stay, but siblings could not just come in because their brother or sister were here. So if you stop school choice at this point, any of these children here who have siblings, their siblings cannot come here. They have to stay with the district that they are in, just as a clarity that some people didn't understand. They figured that since the brother or sister were here, they could, and I remember several comments, and I got several comments, calls from parents that were very upset that their children, I won't say what town they were calling from, but were upset that their children could not come here now. So just a comment on that side. Okay, all right, I'm going to call for public, anybody from the public who would like to speak. Dustin?
Justin Evans, Kendall playing with him. So I kind of want to elaborate on what Jeff was saying earlier. The $17,500 per student is your average per pupil cost across, including building costs, utilities, all the teachers. So if you're just adding students, a couple in each classroom, it's marginal increases of $5,000 without adding that additional cost throughout the district. I kind of want to emphasize it's not a $12,000 swing. It's if you're just filling in empty spots in rooms, the teacher's already there, the stuff's already there, a couple more supplies, but a lot of building expenses are already there. So this is not necessarily as clear cut as what the cost is per student. That was really it.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Spencer Payson. Thank you for having me here. I just have a couple words.
Okay, Spencer, could you give your address, please?
1017 Monpont Street, Hanson, Massachusetts.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Spencer Payson, and I'm a Hanson resident. I want to express my current situation and how a yes vote for school choice could benefit my son and other children in a similar situation. My 8-year-old son, Barrett, has level 1 autism, and we're trying to get him into the Whitman-Hanson School District through school choice. Barrett's mom and I are divorced and have joint custody. He is with mom half the week and with me the other half of the week. However, his primary residence is with his mom in another local town, which is where he currently goes to school. Unfortunately, he is not getting the services he needs right now, and quite frankly, it's been a horrible 2 years for us both, for us all. I won't get into details, but Barrett currently hates school, and he is only in 2nd grade. Last week, my wife was driving Barrett to school, and they were listening to his favorite band, the Beach Boys, and the song Sloop John B. came on. The lyrics are, "I want to go home, let me go home." And Barrett said to my wife, "That's how I feel every day at school." We've tried to work with his current district to get him the support he needs, but we've realized we need to explore other options. All I want is for my son to feel welcomed at school, have a positive experience at school, and be in a more accepting and supportive environment. Out of all the public school systems we've explored locally, we found Whitman-Hanson has one of the best special education programs on the entire South Shore. His mom and I both want him to go to school in the Whitman-Hanson district. If the school committee votes yes tonight, it would give the opportunity for someone like my son Barrett to go to school in Whitman-Hanson next year and receive the support he needs for a good education. We've already talked to the special education director who said if Barrett gets accepted into Whitman-Hanson, that they definitely would have the right services to help Barrett succeed in school. I hope you'll think of my son Barrett and others when voting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Yes, Chris.
So we are currently a school choice
Yes.
now. So we are not voting to add this as a new thing. We're just voting to continue the existing.
Yes.
So-
Open or close.
But by June, we have to make a decision to remain open. The state says you're open anyway. Right. This committee has to decide to stay.
Yeah, so, the no vote would mean that we close, that we do not.
And a yes vote just continues where we're already at.
That's correct, right?
Thank you.
Because I know some of these are backwards.
yeah,
Some of these
yes.
votes are
Yes.
backwards.
So we would have to vote to close.
Okay.
No vote is we're open to every grade level.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you want it? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Wait, I'm sorry, when you mean no vote, you mean we don't vote?
So if there is no vote on this.
Okay, I just want to make it clear, we need no vote and a no vote.
If
Okay.
there is no vote at all,
Yes.
zero motion
Okay.
to, we are remaining open K to 12.
Okay.
And just before I get the other question, just to be understood, Jeff and his team make recommendations where there are openings, where there is availability. If there's not availability, you just don't accept the kids. I mean, if it would, overburden the certain things, okay? So over here was, Hillary, go ahead.
I think I just, am I allowed to give comments now? Are we having a conversation about it or should
Yes.
I wait?
No, we can. It's open.
My concern is, and I think everybody knows that I've ultimately been against school choice until I said if we're going to use it as a revenue source, let's open it up to K to 12 because we used to only be 9 to 11. My major concern this year is we do not have a budget. And right now on the table, we are talking about cutting 24 positions in this district if the towns do not approve a budget. What is it going to look like? And forget about kids wanting to come here and not wanting to come here, right? Class sizes of 30, 32, and then we have a couple school choice kids thrown into that mix. And I understand what you're saying, like, we could look and we could examine, but what are we going to use to look at where spots are? Are we going to look at, let's cross our fingers and hope that the communities are going to vote in their town meetings to support a budget that's not going to cut 24 staff? Or because, quite frankly, if we're cutting 24 staff, there is not room for more students in our classrooms. There isn't a spot here and a spot here and a spot here. There just won't be. So that's where I'm coming from with this. I understand that there are siblings and there are things, and my kids have friends who are choice kids, and it is what it is. But we have to be really cognizant of the fact that we don't have a budget. So where are these kids going to go if we open it up and then we say, sorry, we can't take you? Even if we cut a teacher per grade, that's still going to inflate the class size and affect our students.
But you would not have, to answer that question, you would not add any students if that.
Correct.
So like right now, you wouldn't add any more. That's what I'm trying to get at, right?
But it doesn't mean you have to close and say no school choice, because then Jeff has to make decision. Does he let any more in grade 1? Nope. Does he let any more in grade 2 or 3, whatever? And that's administrative decision too.
That was my question.
Yeah.
That was my statement, was going to be the idea that we don't know what the budget situation is going to be, but if it is not great, we wouldn't have the space. If we had to cut positions, we wouldn't have the space and we wouldn't be able to take school choice.
Correct.
Because anyways, but voting yes would mean that we would have the option to accept them if there were spaces for them. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I think Mr. Evans said something really profound. He said, if there are spaces in those rooms that have the little gaps in them. So it's sort of like a filler, if there is, right? If there is. But another issue is we have, say, a parent here who says my child is a better fit here. It's almost like swapping out so that maybe you don't even have to, you might have a program and have a space in a room, and we might have a child that it's not perfect for him here. That would prevent them to go with other more expensive options. So it does sort of, it could be a possibility if handled right to get kids where they are fitting best.
Karen? Going first. Okay.
Okay, so ultimately, Jeff, you have the ultimate discretion here. So you say no, and what if the parent, do they have a recourse to your no? Can we be sued to accept a student because we are school choice?
That we close to school choice?
No, we're open to school choice, but while open, you have discretion still.
Yes.
You can say, even though we're school choice, we're not taking anyone.
Correct.
Then can we be sued to take someone?
I think we can be sued for anything.
I get it. Is that a possibility? You've never heard of it?
No.
Okay.
No. And we haven't had those numbers Do you know what I mean?
Have you ever said, have we ever been open and you said no?
No. Some schools have had to have lotteries.
Okay.
West Bridgewater has.
All right.
And that's when I was there. We actually had a
Yeah.
lottery. I've never even come close to not being
Okay.
able to fill.
So in
fact-
advance, you can look at and say, well, we can put a kid here and we can put a kid here.
In fact, it helped us, if you look at Conley's numbers this year, we were able to have a fourth classroom because of that.
And you can use that to make it financially feasible too, that discretion.
Yes.
Okay.
Part of this is we lose revenue no matter what, and we're trying to, at least in my history here, is we've tried to maintain revenue so that we're not going into a deficit.
Yep.
Tara?
So Jeff, just so that I have like kind of the numbers clear here, so currently there are 76 that are that we have accepted 76.
Correct.
Current students, 8 of whom are graduating this year.
Yes.
And those 68 that are remaining would, regardless of how we vote tonight, those 68 will
They
stay
stay.
in district through graduation.
Correct.
So what we're really voting on is whether we will open it for an additional, whatever number you propose, right? I'm really torn because as a parent and as an educator, like, these stories are heart-wrenching, and the world of special education, I know how hard so many families fight for getting their kids what they need and how difficult it can be, unfortunately. On the flip side, I also think about, what Hillary's saying about if we're talking about cutting classroom teachers, especially at the elementary level, and potentially adding, I think that, and I've spoken a lot about kind of like the state of where we are in education and where kids are and where the world is right now, but I think depending how big that swing is with move-ins or school choice kids, like adding 3 kids to a class can create extraordinary demands that take away from the educational experience of other students. So I worry about the uncertainty of the budget right now, especially. My question, I guess, to just get a little bit more concrete, is the numbers that you are proposing for adding in are kind of based on, is it like what's in the teacher contract around kind of maximum class sizes? Is it like, how are you using, like, what is that discretion?
So talking to the building, we try to keep class sizes around 19 to 20
Okay.
in elementary. So the recommendations would be, I'm not hold to this, but I would say 7 kids district-wide in kindergarten, 4 kids district-wide in first grade, based upon the numbers that I have. And those are more precise. High school, like 9 through 12,
Yeah.
I'd say 20, 20, 20.
Right.
Because I can fit those as we go. The only thing to consider is the state requires us to vote by June 1st. However, I did have a conversation with the commissioner, and I said, our district's in a unique position right now. We just had a lack of an override, we don't have a budget. Can I have an extension till the 5th of June? I wanted to talk about this tonight and have the open meeting, but the committee can actually vote after we certify a budget on the 4th. We do have that dispensation. I just have to get it into their portal on the 5th. So if people need more time, if we're worried about the budget piece of it, I am too. But I will also say, classroom teachers, we're not going to have 27 in a class. We're not going to be certain districts in our area right now, even if we're in a worst-case scenario. We might have certain support areas, but what we're breaking it down is we have held very consistent to making sure our K to 5 class sizes are as reasonable as we can possibly get them. I don't know specifics yet because I don't know what the towns are coming back at, but that's an option for us as well.
Steph?
At what point do you have to approve or decline for students who are wishing to come for school?
So as soon as the committee makes a decision, I put out an application. The applications are due June 30th.
Okay.
We usually do this in February, and there's be very honest, nobody's banging down my door to come in.
Okay.
Right now. Nobody's doing that. It's traditionally what I found most beneficial for the Whitman-Hanson families if they move, if the rent in their apartment goes up, and they have to move to Brockton, or if they have to move to Rockland, and they say, this is a great place, we'll get our kid here, they do. Behavior-wise, we have not had in the tenure since 2012 to now, any major behavior. Is it tardy sometimes? Is it sometimes student behavior that is inappropriate? Yeah, but never to the, expulsion type of major suspensions. We just haven't done that. Part of the reason is parents are more responsible because they have to bring their students here and they're commuting. So they might be commuting 45 minutes to bring their child here. So that plays into it as well, because there's a little bit more parent engagement for that student, and it's a longer ride home when they're in trouble. A lot more lecture time. So, I wanted to offer that up to the committee. I didn't want to, I talked to Beth, I didn't want to have a public hearing on the 4th and try to jam it in, but I thought originally when we spoke in February about this, we had until June 15th. I read the regs, it's June 1st. I talked to the interim commissioner, Tutwiler, and his assistant, Mr. Curtin, and they gave me till the 5th. And it's in writing, so I'm not worried about it. And he said that's not a problem because of the situation that the district's in as well. They understand that, so.
Well, is anybody's mind going to, think about this, is anybody's mind going to change between now and next week? I don't think so. So, I'd like to move to a vote, right?
Can we close the public hearing first?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to close the
And
public
that's,
hearing.
Second.
again, the roll call vote, please. Steve, Kara,
Yes.
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
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 Stephanie, me,
Motion to
yes.
open school choice for 25, 26,
Okay,
except to continue.
okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Thank you, TJ. Okay.
Yes.
What, wait.
Oh, Glenn, do you have?
I want a clarification on the vote. A yes vote will continue school choice, a no vote takes us out.
On that motion right now on the floor, we are continuing as is this year.
On a yes vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Did we get the numbers for next?
I have not given you the numbers.
Okay. We will do that before. we vote.
Sure. So,
Recommendations.
so my recommendations,
That's okay.
they're pretty simple. I'm looking at K to 5, at 6, district-wide, and it's not building specific, it's seats. 7 and 8
Wait, hold on.
K to 5 was 6?
You're looking at 6 seats across
across the district.
Okay.
7 and 8, what did we have? They also had 5, but I'm going to say 6. I think we have space.
That's 6, 7, and 8, because we did K to 5.
Yep, sorry, 6, 7, and 8. Yep,
Okay. Was how many? 5?
5. 5 per grade.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
5 and 6, 5 and 7, 5 and 8
K through 5 was 6 per grade?
per grade.
Okay.
Okay? And then 9 through 11, we don't accept seniors. Okay? 9 through 11 are 20 each. There's plenty of space.
Wow.
We can do that. If we ever had that, we would actually, it would be, we would gain staff.
Gain money, but-
But I don't see that happening.
Chris?
So to clarify what these numbers are, the 6 for K through 5, that's what you, as of right now, have space in each grade to
Projected.
take district-wide.
Yep.
Based on the staffing levels that we currently have right now.
Correct.
Okay. So, budget, we talked a lot about this, about not currently having a budget and potentially need. So if we did end up having to lose headcount and whatnot, these numbers would be impacted by that.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we would, yes.
Yeah, if you lose an elementary school teacher, you can't have 6
Right.
seats per.
This would drop.
So that would be.
So you would have to say no.
That's correct.
You said something, if we had all of these children come, you would be able to add staff? Or did I?
Yeah, so if 20 freshmen came in, that would be revenue of about $100,000.
So you could actually add or
Afford to.
maintain the
I could afford to add a staff, it would be additional revenues
maintain the staff.
that potentially could, or bring somebody back
Yeah,
that might have been ready.
okay.
Stephanie?
You said we don't take 12th graders, but I'm guessing that there's an exception if this family moves out of.
Yes, they stay.
Okay,
Yes, they stay.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Correct. We have quite a few seniors that move out in 11th grade. Parents want them to stay senior year.
Okay. I just wanted to.
And just a reminder, 2 years ago, we did not have that. They weren't allowed to. They had to leave, which I always thought was pretty sad, you know, that they couldn't stay here till the end. It just wasn't allowed.
That's
Yeah.
So the other piece.
I remember that.
I'm speaking out of turn. Sometimes I will get a phone call from the superintendent and say there's an unusual situation going on in the community. A student may have been bullied, a student might have been assaulted, a student needs something. So we kind of say, okay, you can come in here, and if I need a favor from you, we send that student there. That happens rarely, but in certain situations where that might not be attainable, that student will be in a very uncomfortable spot, not due to anything that they have done. We have worked with another community and they then send us corresponding finances for that student.
Yes, Karen.
I just want to clarify Chris's question and Jeff, your response. So, you know, just to use an example, okay, we're talking about potentially opening up, not necessarily filling 6 seats in 3rd grade throughout the district, right? If, as part of the budget process, and again, we don't know what positions are being cut, but a 3rd grade position gets cut, those 6 seats are still available for school choice.
Correct, district-wide.
So, right, so even if we lose a teacher in that grade, we don't revisit the school choice conversation.
Correct.
Okay.
However, what I will say is if those students come in, the probability of me bringing that teacher back in district is better than not. If I were to get 6 students, it's better than not, because that's half of that salary.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gives me a benefit to do that, you know?
But it also gives him the benefit to say no
Yes.
to those students because that we don't have the ability to take them in. Just because we say, oh, 6, doesn't mean, you know, something happens with budget.
A circumstance could change.
Circumstance
So
would
you're
change.
still allowed to say no.
For an unusual circumstance, yes.
Which
Not just.
a budget would be a
Correct.
terrible circumstance. Yeah. Stephanie?
I just want to say that with the new programs that we started with Pathways and with the robotics, I think that these are things that we need to make sure the public is aware of, because those are definite benefits that we are offering. And because of the size of our school district, we're able to probably offer more of those things. So as we continue to grow those programs, hopefully, then that should benefit us. in the long
100%.
run.
And you are so correct, you know, having like the CNA program, having been in the hospital past 8 days, I had several CNAs.
Yep.
And all I kept thinking was, great, we're doing that here, that these young people can come and work and have a full-time job later and already be there when they graduate. So I can really commend those programs.
Just a quick question. So I think Jeff said that the deadline to apply for school choice to come to Whitman-Hanson will be June 30?
Yes.
What is your timeline in terms of when you have to make a decision about that?
So we let them know as soon on the 30th, we would let them know. It's
Okay.
not- Because if they fill, it becomes a lottery. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And again, I haven't done that, and I don't anticipate that based upon current areas and the fact that it's been pretty public that we might have user fees of $500 and we might do this and that. So people know, but I let them know by the 30th.
But you will know the budget situation by the time those applications come
I
in.
certainly hope so.
Yeah, hope so, yeah.
I certainly hope so. I don't know that.
I think that that's my question. I think we trust you to make the decisions, but I want to be optimistic about the budget, but I also understand that we might, us on the committee, have to sit and make tough choices. And I am really uncomfortable with, you know, we might have to cut a teacher, but we're still going to keep school choice open. And I know that last year, usually we get those enrollment numbers in October. And to say that we'll have a budget situated by June 30th would be wonderful. But again, my massive concern, and you know, like we're saying, we don't have a budget. I don't know if there are other schools on the South Shore right now that are in the same predicament as we are.
Bridgewater Inn, that's
Right,
it.
they're the other
They're the other
one,
one.
right? And if you look on the school choice, so our in-state these schools, Brockton has school choice. I think Situate and Cohasset, if you are an employee there, your student can go there. So if you look at, I'm making an assumption about those. Rockland, that looks like those students were there either during COVID or before we offered full day pay.
Correct.
We would be and still are one of the only districts around that is open to school choice. And I think we need to look long and hard at, and I understand, I think what Kara said as an educator too, I get it completely, but I also am looking at our budget. I am very concerned that we might have to make cuts, and now we're like, oh no, we can squeeze you in because it'll give us a little bit of revenue. But at what cost, right? We're not going to have 20 freshmen coming here for $500 to play field hockey.
Right.
We're not going to have that. So I don't know what the answer is. I wish that we could revisit this once we have a budget approved. But I just also don't know what the purpose would be if we say, yes, we're open to school choice, but we're not actually going to take any students because we don't have room. Like what, I think Glenn, you asked that. Like what would be the repercussions for us if we're open to school choice, but we don't actually take any students in?
I don't see that we wouldn't be able to take, we'll always have some space in the classrooms.
Okay.
We're not going to be cutting. I can just tell you right now, our team, we're not devastating elementary education.
No, my point is, I want to be optimistic, and I think the school committee agrees with you. We are not the people voting at town meeting,
Yeah.
right? And that's where I go.
Okay.
So,
There's a motion on the floor already for this. Vote on it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is our discussion part.
Just for point of clarification, it's $5,000, not 500, correct?
5,000.
Okay. Susan is.
The 500 has to do with,
Activity fees.
Yes.
Oh, the
I'm
activity.
saying no kid's going to come here and have to pay $500 to play a sport.
Is it the case that you can only school choice for, you can't do it for sports? You're supposed to, is there guidelines around sports?
Yeah, you're supposed to come to the school, not
Yeah.
for music or for art or for athletics or anything like that.
For the academic.
You're supposed to go to school. Yeah.
Okay,
And you have a motion and a second.
okay, so let's take a vote, please. Roll call, or does it have to be? Doesn't have to be. Okay, all in favor,
Clarify what we're.
we're voting, if you vote yes, we're keeping school choice,
Based on the numbers that I presented.
based on the numbers and, giving Jeff the confidence that he will do the right thing. So all in favor? Okay, and against, opposed, and 2, 8-2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I just take something out of order after that before field trips?
Yep.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
So today, some good news. We held a signing day for potential educators. Any class of 2025 student that told their counselor that they're going to school to be an educator. It doesn't mean teacher, it could be a school psychologist, it could be anyone in education. We held a signing day. So I signed 16 students to a commitment letter that they were going to college and becoming future educators. We had a little ceremony. I'll send you some pictures, but I just want to acknowledge those students because I think this is important. It's a big day. So Maddie Averill is going into elementary education. Mackenzie Bleen is going to elementary education. Kylie Brooks, elementary education. Carrie Dillon, early elementary. Jenna Donahue, early elementary. Emily Duffy, early elementary. Caitlin Haggerty, early elementary. Megan Lang, secondary ed, science. Caden Lee, elementary. Riley Leonard, early elementary. McKenna McCarthy, early elementary. Paige McGonicky, early elementary. Natalie Petulis, elementary. Lily O'Donnell, school psychology. Samantha Rumsey, general education. And Connor Thomas, music education. So we signed 16 folks today. Hopefully, they'll be in front of you in 4 years looking for a job. And I told them I'd hold their contract, so I gave them a contract, and I sent them, and I kept one. And on the back of their contract, we did a Google Doc of how many alumni actually work in district, and we're over 60. From CAF workers, paraprofessionals, driver's education, our SRO, administrators. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So,
And to
first time we did it, we're going to blow it up a little bit more next year, but it was a good experience.
I think it's amazing too, Jeff, years ago, maybe we can find it too, they had all the people who work here, no matter what their position was. We went to the football field and on the bleachers, took a picture, and it was amazing how many alumni actually work here, not just as teachers, but in all the different positions. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. The bleachers were completely filled. So maybe you can find that
Yep.
picture sometime
Put it
and
together.
show everybody, because it's, to me, that says a lot when people come back, not only to teach here, but to work here in various forms. I think it's, and as one of those fools, I was one of them too, so, but, thank you. Okay. All set with yours?
Yes.
Okay, field trip. So we have a request for a field trip, a little later than usually request, from Hanson Middle School to go to Washington DC, June 2nd to June 6th. May I have a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Stephanie.
Oh, I'm sorry, did you have a question, Seth?
I did, I'm sorry. Number of students is left blank? Do we know why?
No, I don't know why. I think, what did Josh tell us? 100 and,
I think that was at Whitman. I think Hanson has about, I think it's
96?
It's most-
The majority of the 8th grade class is going.
Okay. Just feels like a lot of this isn't filled out.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Okay, unanimous, thank you. Okay. Next.
Exec session, we can go into.
We're going to need a motion to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares litigation and collective bargaining. So two different things. So may I have a motion?
Second.
And second, Stephen?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
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 And myself, yes. Okay.
Wait.